Speaking arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar has been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yo!
Tuesday has arrived. A little sports nonsense and whiskey with the fellas. How are we doing this evening? Robert, Pinky? Cheers, my good men.
Fantastic. It's race week. Super excited about that.
Let's go.
And not only is it race week, it's also sprint race week. So technically there's 2 races this week. So I'm loving it.
Football's back.
What that means, but
Football's back.
Okay. That's okay, Pinky.
Race week. There is plenty of wonderful things to talk about. I will apologize right away at the top. I blew it. I had everything planned out to have our golf man Chris on the show this week to discuss the Open Championship, and it was last week, and I blew it. So to the people that were hoping to get a little bit more golf from our guy, I apologize. He was ready to go. I screwed the pooch and had my dates wrong. But he'll be back for the Ryder Cup.
Take him out.
He'll be back for the Ryder Cup, and there's a lot of good, juicy stuff to discuss as that starts approaching because Bethpage is going to be off the hook this year with those crowds, and it's going to be lit. So we'll talk more about that there. But congratulations to Scotty Scheffler. He is, and this is going to sound a little blasphemous, but he is on the verge of going on a Tiger run. The way he is playing right now, the way he is dominating. You start looking at numbers; they've been floating around all this past week. The same number of majors and the same number of starts with the same number of wins. Like, the parallels are super crazy. Does it feel like he's dominating like Tiger? No. You don't get the same feel from the crowds and everything else. But on the course, when you hear the other players talk, they talk about him dominating the same way some of those other guys talked about Tiger dominating back in the day. And that's really cool to see. So between him and DeChambeau and the boys, and then Rory and what they're bringing with Lowry and everybody else, Ryder Cup's going to be fun. So we will have that, and I apologize. Congratulations to Scotty for doing work over there in Northern Ireland at totally just Portrush, I believe, was the course. So there you go, little golf.
Oh,
and he's out already. That's one. Over under on Caleb. Mike
we'll have
going
terrible
out.
audio tonight. We'll see how long this lasts. Football is back. And with that being said, we've got football to discuss tonight. So we will have our AFC and NFC East previews. A little discussion there about those teams in both divisions. Pinky's already repping on both sides of the
Thought
aisle
about
there,
doing a
as you know.
jersey change, but nobody wants to see that.
And then we got little quick snippet F1 to kind of squeeze in here that Robert and I want to discuss. A lot of stuff and news going on with F1 and rumors and theories and all sorts of things, plus the race this weekend. And then we are going to finish the last 30 minutes with our spoiler-filled. So if you tune in late, we will give a disclosure one more time before we start talking, but spoiler-filled Superman take. Pinky and Robert have both had a chance to see it. They got a lot to say. I'm going to sit back and let it get ruined for me because I am not going to get to see it for a while, most likely. And I really want to hear what these guys have to say about it. Really want to hear what they have to say about it. So that's how we will wrap things up.
You know when you're going to see it? When it's on HBO Max.
Well, by all accounts, the wife is interested in watching Peacemaker. And I told her that Superman directly ties into season 2. And she said, sounds like we have to see it before that comes out. When does Peacemaker start? I said, end of August. She said, okay, I'm going to make some phone calls. So maybe sooner than I had thought, but I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll see what happens.
You've got like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Peacemaker's August 19th, 26th. It's like the end of August, right?
Towards the end of August, but they only keep movies around for like a month. It's a short run nowadays. It don't last that long.
Then it is
August
what it is.
21st.
I'll have to hold
a
up
month
on
from
Peacemaker
today,
a little bit.
or a month from yesterday.
So we'll see what happens.
It doesn't tie in that much. You'd be fine.
That's James Gunn said there's direct tie-ins.
Yes.
So
I mean, he's not wrong, but it's not something you would be like, oh my god, I can't watch it before I watch Superman. Like you.
Well, Pinky, you know how I operate. I want to know everything and anything, and I want to digest fully, not go eat my dessert and then come back and try to have my appetizer. Like, it's not how I operate, okay? So, if it was dessert to main course, maybe. Dessert to appetizer isn't my jam. So there's a reason I haven't seen Andor yet. I gotta make sure I can sit down and fully digest it. I don't want bits and pieces. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. On that note, that will be the end. Final 30 minutes. You want to hear spoilers, or you want to dive in and converse and give your 2 cents at the same time? By all means, go right ahead. But we're going to start with our football. We're going to start with the AFC East. Pinky, good sir, please, if you will.
All right. Well, I thought Robert was leading us into each team this week, but I can.
Well, he can lead us into the teams. I was just trying to transition over to. Heaven forbid.
Yeah, so let's talk about the AFC East, guys. Pinky, Caleb, give us your rundown of what you think's gonna happen in the AFC East here.
Where do you want to start, Pinky?
Bottom
up.
Let's talk about the team that's probably the most meh of this whole group. You got an idea?
Don't do it, because I'm not going to agree with you on this one.
It's the Jets.
It's the Miami Dolphins.
What? Is it really?
The Miami Dolphins are the most mad team. Like, I don't care.
That's fair.
I don't care. Like, I've seen this play out already. Like, Tua, Tyreek, their running back who's A-Chain, who's fast but gets hurt. They had to let a lot of guys on the defense go. They traded their best defender in Jalen Ramsey because he was like, this team ain't going anywhere. He knows. I think Mike McDaniel's a dead man walking. I think they're ready to pretty much turn the page. He's a player's coach, but they've got a team right now that needs discipline, and that's not who he is. They don't have a lot of leaders in the locker room. They don't have those guys that can lead the team on their own. This is a mess, man. Miami is dead last in that division for me.
Really?
Hot take.
Dead last.
Mic drop.
That is. Yeah, I did not expect to hear that from you. Okay. I don't think they're meh. I think they're extremely. What's the word I'm looking for?
Overrated.
Polarizing. Extremely polarizing. Because I think there's an argument to be made that they will have one of the top 3 to 5 offenses this year. And I don't see their defense being as bad as it was last year, although it definitely could be, because like Pinky said, they've lost some pieces. Although I'm not as high on Jalen Ramsey as maybe other people are. I think he has definitely lost a step and is not the same type of shutdown corner that he once was. So I think letting him walk was more of a even move, maybe even a step up, depending on, what the locker room was like with him around and things of that nature. So the defense is a question mark, but I think the offense should be cruising. The reason I say polarizing, though, is because you could easily argue that offense, while potentially could be dangerous, you got to keep everybody on the field. Both their wide receivers are injury prone with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And while those injuries may not keep them off the field in a lot of situations, it will limit their abilities. And their abilities truly are that speed. Now, they're both great route runners. So when you match that with the speed, that's where they become so dangerous. And Tua is one of the most accurate passers in the league.
What do they have to do to make that happen, though? Because they're going
to have to protect Tua. They're going to have to protect Tua. And that's where I think the biggest question mark is, Pinky, and why you could say polarizing, because you don't know what you're going to get. And I don't think there's anybody going to be split on this team, which is why I'm using polarizing. You feel like they're going to be dead last in the division. I could see them easily going 10, 11 wins this year. So, but I don't see them in the middle. I do not see them being a 500 type of team. It's either going to be good or really bad. And I don't think they have a middle ground there.
You want the hot take?
Give it.
Zach Wilson starting half the season.
Elaborate, please.
They're not going to be able to protect Tua, man. They've got interior O-line issues. Their tackle's not good. They're not going to be able to protect Tua. And that's just going to lead to issues, man. Tua, when protected, is deadly. There's no doubt about that. He's proved it. I can't even argue that anymore. When he's healthy and he's on point, he's great. But that's when they can protect him, and that O-line is not going to be able to protect him, and they did not do enough to make that happen. It is going to be a train wreck, and unfortunately, I see another Tua concussion happening. And again, that's just unfortunately when a guy starts having them as easy as he has them, it doesn't go away, man. It's just that one hit. Like, it doesn't even have to be hard anymore.
Quick side note. I know I pushed the Guardian helmets a year ago, last couple of years, really. And look, I'll eat my crow. I had a lot of people come at us on socials and stuff, educating me, and I appreciate that. And while the Guardian cap helps with impact, it does nothing to truly stop concussions in the sense because the brain is still moving around. It's not stopping the brain from being able to move around. And so the more it was explained and kind of the nuances of it, I understood why it really didn't matter. And I get it.
So, and I think the Guardian caps do help for the guys that are on the interior.
Yeah, it can help lessen the impact and stuff, for sure.
But quarterbacks who are blindsided,
the whiplash effect of the brain, exactly.
They're still getting smacked.
I say all that, though, to say, have you heard what Sauce Gardner was talking about? There's a new thing, and I haven't gotten to dive as deep on this just yet as I want to, but it's a band that they wear around the neck. It's like a U-band that comes around the neck. And what it does is it helps restrict the blood flow a little bit, and it causes the interior of the head to, and I might be saying this wrong, but kind of the way I understood it was it kind of causes the interior of the brain more blood to rush there and almost swell, so the brain can't move around as much.
I think I saw Leighton Vander Esch was using that. I think at one point.
I saw Sauce Gardner talking about it and hyping it up, but I'm interested to see this. And if it truly does do that, maybe a lot more guys do something like that. You see that more prevalently. It's not going to look silly, right? So it's not going to have to worry about that fashion statement thing that a lot of the guys talked about. And, if we could get something like that truly does help limit it, somebody like Tua being able to take advantage of that could go a long way. Does it help? I don't know. But it is something that I noticed, and I'm very interested to see how it kind of plays out over training camp and into the season.
And done with the Dolphins. Moving on.
Mm-hmm. All right,
what's next, Robert?
Well, it'd be the Jets, the Patriots, or the Bills, which I feel like the Jets would be the next conversation. I feel like they'd be second to last in that division.
Let's just say we'll keep it quick on the Patriots, because I think the Jets are a little more interesting than the Patriots.
All right,
Patriots are building. They added quite a bit of pieces in free agency, not superstars, but they added a lot of depth. Patriots should be better. They have a better coach. It might not lead them to being playoff contenders, but I don't think the Patriots will be bottom of the pile. I think they're going to be kind of right in the middle. They're going to be your 7-10, 8-9 squad. I don't know. I don't think they'll be competing for a wild card myself. Could they surprise us? Maybe. Drake May, we talked about it last week. Drake May, that kid's got it. So when you got a quarterback who can play, anything is possible. But I don't think the Patriots are going to be, fighting. I don't think they're fighting for the division or a wild card this year, but they are getting better.
I am very torn on the Patriots, and I will start with this. And Pinky, you probably are not going to like this, and I apologize to you, good sir, but I can't not see it when I look at it. The Patriots and the Broncos are almost identical when you look at kind of team build and where they're heading, what they're trying to accomplish. The Broncos, I say, were a little slightly ahead, obviously, based on last year and the pieces they added on the defensive side specifically. But that offensive side, the two teams don't look that much different. Both have a second-year quarterback. Both have a wide receiver, number one, that's going to be older. Sutton, I would feel more confident in just because he's not coming off a torn ACL. But you could argue that Diggs is the better wide receiver or the more talented wide receiver. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I would definitely listen to that argument. The secondary pieces in the wide receiving core are kind of a bunch of Jags, and they kind of all have the same kind of things. Like Denver's got a bunch of kind of speed guys. So do the Patriots. Broncos have the best O-line or one of the top 3 O-lines in the league. So that elevates them, obviously. But the Patriots, that's one of the areas they focused on in the offseason was adding offensive line depth and talent. I could honestly see the Patriots not making the playoffs or anything. I agree with Pinky. I think they're kind of still a year away from truly competing there. But I could see that run game potentially being top 5 in the league. I think Ramondre Stevenson is wildly underrated as a running back in this league, but he had a lot of fumble issues last year, and that cost him touches. And Vrabel won't put up with that, so if you do it again, you're going to see a lot of bench time. But he is super talented out of the backfield catching and running. And then they added Travion Henderson, who I think is the most talented back in this draft. And I know everybody wants to talk about Ashton Genty, and I've gone over why I don't think there's this big gap or separation. You could probably say Genty's a little bit better runner if you want to, but I would say Henderson is a little bit better receiver possibly. Henderson has never fumbled in college. Keep that in mind. Like, the dude does not put the ball on the ground. So their running game, I think, is going to be very good. And we know Vrabel loves to run the rock. Like, play action, running the ball, controlling the clock, and letting your defense play is Vrabel's MO. So with that backfield and the fact that Pinky and I have talked about it, and Pinky's mentioned it again tonight, Drake May's good. And I think he's only going to improve. So the Patriots are in a position, unlike what you see with Houston, Washington, even Denver, where their quarterback put them a year ahead of schedule from where you kind of really thought they would be. The Patriots aren't dealing with that because they were so devoid of talent around that quarterback the first year that they weren't able to add pieces to compete this year. They had to add pieces to the foundation this year. Like Pinky said, they added a lot of good players. They didn't necessarily add any difference makers, right? And so they've got a foundation now that they can work off of, but I think that is still a year out. So it'll be interesting to see how they play with Vrabel, but I do kind of really like that run game to be very well established by the end of the season.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts on that, Pinky?
No, I'm done with the Patriots. We got to move on.
All right, Jets.
Got to talk about my guy now.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about them long. The Jets are not a wild card team. They're not a contender. They're not fighting for the division. What they are is interesting because they've got a new coach. They've got a quarterback who is wanting to show that he's the real deal. He's also being paired up with his college teammate, so that's very
more than one
and fun.
Just throw it out there. Keep in mind, their tight end that could be their number one tight end potentially was also his college teammate, and that's the reason he got drafted where he got drafted. Because of that season with Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields.
Right.
Ruckert is who I'm talking about.
So I just find them interesting. I like Aaron Glenn. I think he's a good defensive coach. I think he will have this defense playing hard again because I think Aaron Glenn is able to get a lot from lesser talent. So the fact that you have a stacked defense, he should be able to get quite a bit from. But at the end of the day, I don't believe in Justin Fields in the long run. I don't think he's going to be able to get them better than 8 and 9. If he's 10-7, they might make the playoffs, but I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to be 7-10, 8 and 9. But I do think it'll be interesting at the very least.
Where do you see this defense, Pinky? High end. Like, if they reach their potential, their ceiling, if you will, what should this defense be?
I mean, technically it should be top 10, but they way underperformed last season.
Sure.
The talent on paper says they should be top 5, but they did not play to that.
Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. So let's talk about this for a second.
They haven't played to that level that they should be at.
Agreed.
Is Aaron Absolutely Glenn the catalyst? Maybe.
That yes, exactly. So if Aaron Glenn is that missing piece to get this defense to finally play up to its on paper potential, we're talking about a top 5 defense. I still believe, and until proven otherwise, and I don't feel I have been proven otherwise just yet, but I do feel this is the season that is make or break for Justin Fields. But I believe that if given a full year to be the guy with actual talent around him, he is a legit NFL quarterback that can be dangerous. And because of that, I believe you're looking at the, say, first, second, or third best rushing offense in the league with ease. Because you're talking about Fields, you're talking about.
That's 2.
That's 2.
You're talking about Fields. You're talking about Breece Hall. You're talking about Braylon Allen.
Now, hold on. That O-line still needs work, though.
I'm just, hear me out, okay? I'm not saying the O-line is spectacular. But because of the weapons they have behind that O-line and the ability of that quarterback, if he's truly given a chance to be the dude and you build an offense to his strengths, you're talking about, I mean, would you take Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields as the better runner right now?
Jalen Hurts.
You would say Jalen Hurts is a better runner of the football than Justin Fields.
I don't even need Jalen Hurts to run the football because he literally doesn't have to.
Right, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you if we need.
Jalen Hurts is a pretty good runner of the football, my friend. He just doesn't have.
That's why
he hasn't had to run in
comparison.
He hasn't had to run in like 3 years.
He's really good. But we know what Justin Fields is capable of, is what I'm getting at.
Right. He's probably the best running back on his team.
So if the offense is built to that, with Garrett Wilson, I think Ruckert is a really good blocking tight end. Can he show the same receiving chops that he showed at Ohio State with Justin Fields as his quarterback? You add a little bit more weapon there. They drafted the tight end out of LSU, right? Mason,
yep.
So there is potentially some weapons to throw to, which outside of his lone year with DJ Moore is going to be the best weapons he's ever had around him. So if the defense plays up to its potential under Aaron Glenn, I actually do see the Jets being a playoff contender, fighting for one of those final 2 wild card spots.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what Bleacher Report has. New York isn't gonna make the playoffs. The Jets might even have a top 5 pick here. That might be a bold, but they're not making the playoffs.
cute. They said the same thing about the Broncos last year. So again, telling me I'm wrong and quoting somebody else's article that was completely inaccurate from the year before probably isn't doing you any favors, my guy.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying they're going to be awful. I just don't think they're going to be like playoffs. They're not. I just don't see it happening. There's just too much inconsistencies on that team, and they're still run by the same owner.
Yeah, I mean the owner's the giant question mark, right? Always will be, always will be. But it's no different than the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are going to fight for a playoff spot every year. You just don't think they're Super Bowl contenders because of the owner. I could see the Jets being in a very similar type of scenario.
We'll talk about the Cowboys in a moment. We'll get to them, and I've got some takes on that. Let's talk about
Everybody's got some takes on that.
The only team worth talking about in the AFC East, the champs. They rule the AFC East since Brady left. Buffalo Bills, baby. Robert, tell the people about the Buffalo Bills.
Dude, those new red helmets look awesome.
Not new.
Well,
not new.
The
throwback.
The throwback helmets.
They should be the regular helmets. Why they are not is beyond me.
But those red helmets look awesome. And I mean, it's Josh Allen. He deserves to win. He deserves.
Caleb, I got a good one for Robert. Robert.
Yes.
Josh Allen is going to take his game to the next level, and it's because of one thing that happened this summer.
Bro, he got married to one of the hottest women ever.
Married guys.
Yeah, our boy Cody would tell you otherwise, Pinky. Cody's theory is such that you get married and you turn around and have a down year, and he's got some numbers to back it up.
You know, they actually talked about this on Good Morning Football, and they had a lot of numbers to back up that you play better after you get married. Okay. Because now you're not out late with the fellas. You're not out at the bar. You're home with your lady. She's taking care of you. I don't know how much Haley is cooking him dinner and all that. They probably got somebody to do that. But I feel like now you're playing for something else other than yourself. And I feel like that'll make a difference. Now, again, I think he's going to be great regardless, whether he was married or not.
I mean, it's Josh Allen. He's fantastic.
It's Josh Allen. So, Buffalo, to me, is that there's a couple teams that we're going to talk about through our previews that it's Super Bowl or bust. If they don't make the Super Bowl, this is a failed season. And Buffalo's right there. And from here on out, any season Buffalo doesn't make the Super Bowl, it's a failed season. It is time. You've been a number one contender. Your team's been, 13 wins, 12 wins. I mean, you've played in the big games. You've played in the playoffs multiple years in a row. You've dominated your division. It's time. There's nowhere else to go. And if you don't, what's the next step, Caleb? What's the next step if they don't make the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, you can't really tear it down. So you're.
Well, what have we said they should have done in the last couple seasons? There's one thing we've said they should have already done.
Well, and this is tough, but you got to change the voice that's leading the locker room. And, whether you want to hear it or not, if you truly want to be a winning organization and you truly want to go to that next level, at some point you have to be willing to make a hard decision and say, good isn't good enough.
Do you know who Sean McDermott is now?
For a Super Bowl. What?
Do you know who Sean McDermott is right now? He's John Fox without the Super Bowls.
Oh, man.
That's Sean McDermott. He is John Fox without going to the Super Bowls. Fox went to 2.
Yeah, I'm not a very big Fox guy.
I'm not either. But he did go to 2.
Wow. That's
no idea who this is. I'm sorry.
That's pretty accurate.
So Kayla,
and that's a harsh reality for Bills fans.
John Fox led the Carolina Panthers in 2002.
I'm very aware of what he did.
No, Robert said he doesn't know who he is.
You said Caleb, so I thought you were talking to me.
He took the Panthers to the Super Bowl in 2002. They lost to the Patriots. Fantastic game. Great back and forth game. That third and fourth quarter was awesome. And then he took the Broncos to the Super Bowl in 2013 when they went to go play in MetLife Stadium, and they got their asses waxed because they weren't prepared, and Peyton Manning couldn't feel his hands at all. So.
All right.
Ooh, that is a harsh reality for Bills fans, Pinky, because I do think that is pretty darn accurate.
He's gonna have.
Cheers, my guy.
He's gonna have whole fandom coming after him.
Yes. I don't care, man. I mean,
they shouldn't. They really have nothing to back themselves on because the mistakes McDermott has made have cost them 2 Super Bowl appearances.
I have a thing for the Buffalo Bills. They went to 4 straight AFC Championship games. I loved watching Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed.
Pinky, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls.
4 straight Super Bowls. Yeah, sorry.
They're
I have
not
a
the
thing for the
Philadelphia
Bills.
Eagles.
And I feel bad for Bills fans. And I still root for them to get that ring, get that championship for their fans. I just don't think they're going to do it with McDermott as coach.
Understood.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the record saying it's probably time. So,
which is tough. It takes big balls from leadership to say, I think we've gone as far as this guy can take us.
Well, and it's even more than that. It's not just having the guts to do it. It's you better feel supremely confident in your ability to then bring in the successor too, right? It's not just letting that guy go. It's you're letting him go, and what you're hiring, you have to believe is better. And that's a big step. It's easy to fire somebody. It's a lot harder to find the replacement that's better than. So that's the situation the Bills definitely find themselves in. Take it a step further, Josh Allen coming off an MVP this season, he has to play even better than he did last year. And in order for that to happen, I believe he needs 2 things on that offense to go his way. And he's going to have a big say in whether or not that happens. One is the tight end becoming one of the top 3 guys in the league as far as his production on the field. Dalton
Kincaid,
thank you. And Keon Coleman needs to show up and be at worst a T. Higgins type. And I don't mean necessarily as good as T. Higgins right now, because I think T. Higgins is really damn good. A number 1 on almost every other team in the league, right? But he has to be such that he's almost like a 1A or a 1B type for that offense. And if those 2 guys can't take the step with Allen and see all of their production rise, I think this offense becomes stagnant and predictable. And that could create some major issues for them, to the point where this might sound a little crazy, but the only reason they get into the playoffs is because they win the division, not because they have one of the best records in the league, which then puts them in a supremely terrible matchup in the first round, and they get bounced.
They need home field advantage. Hasn't helped them in the playoffs, but they definitely need home field advantage.
So they, like, if you don't, and I think James Cook will take another step forward as long as they continue to run the ball consistently like they did last year. I think you'll see him be a top 10 back in the league based on stats. He's really talented. And they have some other guys to spell him to keep guys healthy. So the running game shouldn't be an issue. But if they don't see that step up in production from their pass catchers, and Allen can't elevate them, because that's really what he has to do. Really, I guess the numbers could be similar for him, but you need to see those 2 guys take that next step within those numbers. So I think there's some, if I was a Bills fan, I would be a little concerned. And not in making the playoffs, but in actually being able to compete for a Super Bowl.
Solid.
And then the defense, I mean, what everybody was scared about it last year. They lost these guys. What did I tell you last year? I'm not concerned. It's going to be fine. I think the defense is middle of the road fine again. They're not going to be an issue. They're not going to be necessarily why they win games, but they're not going to lose them for them either. They're going to be consistent enough to where it's going to be on the offense to win. And to close it out, Pink, I think that's where McDermott needs to step up the most because he's a defensive guy, right?
Correct.
So I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about what the head coach does for the offense to elevate the team. And if he can't show that capability, we all know what the NFL has been moving to recently when it comes to head coach hiring.
Hot garbage.
No, not hot garbage. Easy. But they're moving more towards an offensive-minded head coach to work specifically with your high-end paid quarterback to make sure that at least that side of the ball is taken care of and you have consistency there. Because if you lose your offensive coordinator to somebody else, then you have to bring somebody else in. We've seen offenses then struggle that next year to find their footing again.
Absolutely.
Mouth, Caleb.
So it's easier to replace the defensive side of the ball and move forward than it is the offensive side.
I'm not looking for any Caleb curses over here. Shut your mouth.
Hey, he's speaking straight facts right now.
I don't want to hear it, okay?
All right, Robert, lead us into the NFC East. Let's move on.
Man. We'll just go ahead and get this started with our favorite team on this whole podcast, the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones, and how intelligent he is, and how he's God's greatest gift to football. And his interview these other days, like, they were just phenomenal, right? Like, come on, they were great, solid stuff. Like, he certainly knows how to just butter everybody up and then just take it all away.
I mean, he is proof that
amazing.
Stephen Jones needs to go to court and basically be like, "Yeah, I need to take over for this guy." Like he can't.
No,
lost his rocker.
Bro. I used to hold hope for Stephen Jones. I no longer do. The fact that family has not stepped in yet tells me that they're all on the same page, which means this is the Cowboys' existence until we get to the grandkids.
Which is fine because I'm not a Cowboys fan, right?
Yeah, let's keep them sucking.
And again, if they keep sucking, at least we have stuff to talk about.
I mean,
they're not America's team.
Okay, so let's break this down just a little bit, okay? Because we've talked about, and last year we kind of made it pretty clear that there is a legit argument to be made that Jerry Jones is the worst owner in the league.
He's probably the worst owner of all time.
No, because I mean, he puts teams on the field that can play, right? But then he finds ways to limit the potential of those teams and cuts his own hand off, kind of thing. The nose to spite the face, whatever analogy you want to use.
I mean, just from a football aspect, everything else that Jerry Jones does is actually pretty damn good. Marketing, brand, talking stupid shit to bring the Cowboys back into the limelight when they're not in the limelight. You know, he has a good way of like putting the spotlight on him and the Cowboys so that we're talking about it. So from a brand and all that, he's pretty
dollars and cents.
But from a football perspective, I think you could make that argument, Caleb. So
I think you can make it even from the dollar and cents perspective, and this is why. You're running the organization like a circus. You have former and current players talking about how they feel like a piece of meat when they're trying to get workouts in because Jerry has turned what used to be behind the scenes kind of sacred areas of a football team into tourist attractions. And so you're trying to get your weightlifting in, your conditioning, your therapy, your rehab. And you got fans walking around staring at you through windows. So, yeah, they're making money hand over fist. But the way in which they're making money hand over fist is detrimental to the actual thing that causes you to make money, which is the product on the field. So, in one hand, yeah, he's a genius in marketing. In the other hand, he's an awful marketer because you're actually putting your product in jeopardy. And that's like the quickest way to ruin your business. And the fact that he's managed to do this for as long as he has and stay relevant as long as they have because the team continues to win somehow, or at least win enough to keep them relevant, is part of the reason why he's such a terrible owner. you can't, like last year, you can't say we're all in and then do nothing.
Absolutely, bro. That was so funny.
And then try to twist the words of what all in means. No, dude, what you just explained is not all in. It's called conservative. And you can't twist all in to equal that.
Nope.
Now, this year, you're coming out publicly blasting guys you paid because they got injured while playing football for you. And that's a reason why you're hesitant to now pay other guys. Jerry, no, that's not it. Stop lying to the people. You just do terrible business, my guy. I will give you credit as a talent evaluator because you draft consistently well on a very regular basis. But when it comes to filling the holes of need through free agency or realizing when it's time to say bye to somebody you drafted, you don't have the capability of doing either. I made a joke a couple days ago on our socials that said, hey, Jerry Jones, after TJ Watt got paid, is about to fill the Dallas Cowboys roster with a quarterback, a wide receiver, a defensive end, and the Washington Generals, because that's all you'll be able to afford. Now I have to change that opinion completely and say, I don't even know if the Washington Generals will come play for that circus because it's not worth the headache when they can get paid the same somewhere else. The brand and marketing is not what it used to be in Dallas. So when you have an owner constantly putting himself above the organization in every aspect, and then saying things about the people under him in a way that is publicly demeaning, regardless of what your relationships are behind the cameras, it puts a picture out there that limits, I believe, the ability of the team to truly draw the talent they need to win consistently going forward at a Super Bowl level. Now, all that being said, I believe the Cowboys have the talent to be a dark horse Super Bowl champion this year.
As always.
They just do. Now, they're thin, and Pinky and I talked about that for a while, especially on the defensive side, they're thin. So if they start losing guys again to injury, that goes out the window quickly.
I don't see it from the defensive side at all. I just, like, they don't have the guys. They don't have the horses.
I think they have enough. I do.
All right. We got to
move
on.
I will finish it with this. That offense should be top 5 or real close to it with those 2 wide receivers and Dak Prescott if they play the full season.
All right. Fair enough.
I disagree because they're not going to be able to run the ball. But
we'll see.
Team,
if Nick Chubb is healthy.
Nick Chubb's in Houston, baby.
Oh, that's right.
On.
Why am I thinking Jamal Williams?
We're moving on.
Williams is with Dallas, right? That's who went to Dallas.
Are we
they're
Commanders or Giants? Who do you want to take, Pinky?
Well, let's talk Commanders real quick.
Derpy, don't even. Oh,
I mean, I might take Kirk Cousins prime over Dak. Just saying.
Oh my God, we're not doing this again, Pinky.
But we got to move on.
Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Deal with it.
Arguably,
Kirk was never that, and I like you guy. I like it. Okay, and I'm not putting Kirk up there. Dak is. Just deal with it.
Moving on, Commanders.
Derpy's not wrong, but we got to move on. All right, Commanders. Man, is there a team that they have to. I feel like because of how far they went last year, they're going to still be good this year and yet underperform. Expectations are sky high, and I don't know if they're going to get there.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, moving on.
Robert, what are you doing, man?
That
is not how you get. Caleb will just keep talking about it. We don't want to do that.
That's right.
Derpy's stirring the pot. He's poking the bear. Commanders. All right. I don't think they're as good on defense as they'll need to be. I still think there's missing pieces. They're messing with McLaurin right now, which makes no sense. Like, Scary Terry's been your guy. He's been awesome with really crap quarterbacks. Like, get this guy his money and move on. Just like John Malkovich from Rounders. Pay that man his money. I can't even do a really horrible Russian accent. But pay him his money, get it going, move on. So, my Commanders take, I think they'll be fun. I think they'll be fun to watch. I think they're going to miss the playoffs. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, my God. And it's like they're still growing. They were ahead of schedule. Like, they caught some teams late. They had a lot of comeback wins that I think they surprised some teams. That Chicago Hail Mary win. They had a couple other ones that Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter came back and won that they probably shouldn't have won. You take those losses, they don't make the playoffs, right? The pendulum doesn't always swing in your favor every single season, unless you're the Chiefs.
Thanks, Russ.
Again, they know how to win. I don't know if the Commanders are at that point yet. Dan Quinn's fun. He's a good coach. But, again, my Commanders' take is they're not making the playoffs this year.
All right.
I think absolutely, Pinky. Cheers. And not in a bad way. I think, as far as I'm concerned, this is the number one candidate as a prime suspect for regression this year. And it strictly is because they overperformed last year on an epic level. Now, Pinky and I expected big things from Jaden Daniels. So that wasn't a surprise to us. What was a surprise is we didn't feel like there was a lot of weapons around him outside of Terry McLaurin. And we definitely didn't think that defense was going to be as consistent as it was last year. We thought it would be much improved under Dame, but we did not think it was going to be as consistent.
Well, they weren't consistent per se, but they were what Dan Quinn normally does. He helps generate turnovers.
Well,
they got turnovers.
To me, that's the consistent. They did what the system wanted them to do consistently, I guess is a better way to say it.
The turnovers helped them win games, but they were still bad 20-20. They still gave up 30 points on a lot of occasions. So, all right.
My head hurts right now. Derby, what are you?
Hey,
no,
you missed some comments.
nowhere. Look, Dallas's roster is more on paper talented than Washington. The Philadelphia Eagles blow both of them out of the water. My guy is just okay.
Actually, Washington is like the oldest team in the league, or one of the oldest teams in the league. Look it up, Derpy. They are.
That's where I'm going next. Part of the reason I see regression is outside of Terry McLaurin, what are they really working with? Zach Ertz is good and consistent, but he's another year older. I think Deebo Samuel's done as far as being a dude in the NFL. Could he still have a couple more solid years or some really good games here and there? Yeah.
Games, not years. Games.
Games. We'll go games. I don't think he's a meaningful addition. I really don't. That running back room, solid. Do I think it's going to be explosive?
They don't have any game changers.
So you're then relying on Jaden Daniels to elevate his game again when everything coming at them next year will be schemed to stop him specifically, not the offense as a whole. So I find it hard to see where Washington can take a step forward this year to make the playoffs when they're not going to win the division to do it. And now you're fighting with wild cards. And as we go through our previews, you'll see that's going to look really tight. And it's hard for me to see them when you've got other teams improving and doing things to give them a better opportunity to get into the playoffs. So Washington, I do believe you see regression, and 8-9, 7-10, right in there somewhere, I think would be exactly where you expect them to be. And it's not going to be like they're getting blown out, right? They're going to be a competitive team. But like Pinky said, the way the ball bounced right for them so many times last year, the likelihood of that repeating is slim to none. And then that puts you in a completely different scenario.
All right. Moving on to the Giants.
The team we probably should have started with, because there's not as much to talk about. I think the Giants are going to be bad. I think they're definitely worse in the division. They're probably top 5, top 10 pick next year. And I think they're going to regret drafting Jackson Dart because they're going to be top 5, and they could have drafted a better quarterback that's coming out this year. They've got a dead coach walking. Like, they're getting rid of DeBall. We like Brian DeBall, but they're going to move on.
I'm not sure how I still feel about it, but we did.
Well, they've not put him in a good place to succeed per se, talent-wise.
He's made some questionable moves with his roster, though, that have me second guessing some of the stuff.
I mean, Derpy, you're not exactly wrong, but we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, Giants. The biggest question to me, what makes them at least interesting, is who's playing quarterback. And I'll be honest, they got Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, and then they drafted Jackson Dart. I think they wasted money on both Russ and Jameis. They should have just picked up like Andy Dalton and
didn't they
Dart.
get them both for like the same price as what the Colts are paying Daniel Jones? So it's not terrible.
I mean, I think they're paying Winston like $5 and they're paying Wilson like $10. So I thought
it was like 5 and 5 basically or something.
It's not big money, but at the end of the day, like you don't need both of them when you should be playing Jackson Dart day one.
Who would you start?
Jackson Dart.
You would start Jackson Dart day one?
Absolutely. I'm a dead coach walking unless I can get Dart in there and have him show progress and show that they should keep me for another year. Because if you don't play him most of the season and you suck, then at the end of the day, we still sucked. And now what do we do? So there's no reason to have him. And then again,
fair.
If they're number one and Arch Manning comes out, you think they wouldn't consider just like drafting Arch Manning? And then it's like, we wasted the pick on Jackson Dart.
I mean, here's the problem. Their GM is really bad at his job, so he very well could pass on Arch Manning to do something that he considers to be more brilliant.
He also might not have a job either. If you fire one, you probably fire both.
I don't know how he still has a job, to be perfectly honest with you.
And that's our Giants
now,
take.
To the owner's credit, unlike some other owners that we've had issues with, Mora has came out and said his mistakes. And he openly admitted that they did Daniel Jones no favors. So whether you think Daniel Jones can play in the NFL as a legit quarterback or not, you have to at least be honest with the fact that the Giants did him dirty in no protection and no weapons until it was too late. So the fact that the owner is willing to admit that and recognize that, I think is a big deal for the Giants as a whole moving forward. Now the question's going to be, is Jackson Dart the guy? Because you're right, Pinky. Daboll put his career on the line with that pick. That was his guy. That's who he wanted. He very clearly stated that. This is the man that he wants to move forward with. So I agree with you. You got to start Jackson Dart, and he has to show that he was worth the pick. Because we know how we feel about somebody that went in the 5th round. And if that comes to fruition, it's going to make what you did look even worse. So Jackson Dart has to hit. And on top of that, let's be honest, that offense should be much improved as far as the weapons. Neighbors is one of the top wide receivers in the league. Period. End of story. Tracy's a solid running back. They added Scatabo. Yep. So it's not like they're devoid of talent in the backfield. Are they elite game-breaking talent? No. But are they solid guys that can get you 3-4 yards a clip and catch the ball out of the backfield? Absolutely. Which is more than some teams have. Their offensive line should be improved, right? Should be. This is going to sound homer, but I don't mean it to, so just take it for what it is. They got a guy really late in the draft in Fadone. They need a tight end or somebody that can catch the ball from that position. They drafted a guy last year out of Johnson who may be that guy, but they're unsure of. Fadone was the top tight end recruit in the nation 5 years ago when he went to Nebraska. A lot of injuries, but last year he was healthy. He says he's good to go. There is some talent there. So I'm saying all that to say they have tried to add the pieces to help the quarterback now. So it really is on the quarterback and that head coach going forward, because we both talked about how that defense is probably going to be top 5.
Could be.
That defensive line might be one of the best in the league.
Dude, Brian Burns, Thibodeau, and now Carter all coming at you. That's a lot. All right, we got to stop talking about the Giants.
We're good.
We got to move on to the Eagles.
All right.
This is the
So
last
we'll
team,
try to
right?
keep.
We're good.
Yeah.
Last team.
We're good. Last team. We'll try to keep it short and sweet. Look, the Eagles are going to win the division. They're pretty damn talented. Howie Roseman plays chess while other guys are playing checkers. Hate that all you want, Derpy. Hate that all you want, and it's okay. I get it. The last 10 years, they've been much better than the Steelers. I get it. I like the Eagles because they run the football. They know who they are. They play solid defense, and they're willing to make deals and changes. And again, they're willing to wheel and deal. They're trying to make their team better. I think that's really great. I don't know why anybody would hate the Eagles, although I can agree. Eagles fans can be dicks. I met an awesome one in the draft in Green Bay. He's a great Eagles fan. He's a dick. They can be dicks. It's fine.
Caleb?
The saving grace that every team in the NFC East can have outside of Philadelphia is that nobody's repeated as a division champ in, I think it's 23 years now, 22 years. It's something ridiculous. Go ahead and look that up.
I'll look it up. I thought that was the NFC South, but I might be wrong.
No, it's the East. It is absolutely absurd, the streak that this is on right now. So there's that silver lining, if you will, for everybody outside of Philadelphia. That being said, I can't think of a year where there's been as big of a supposed gap between the top team and everybody else in this division. Philadelphia is the defending Super Bowl champs for a reason. They are loaded, and they didn't reload. They just grabbed another gun. Like, they have weapons everywhere. You can say they're the best offensive line in the league. I would argue that, but they're right up there every year. You could argue that they have the best wide receiving core in the league. I would argue, but I'd listen. You could argue their tight end position is one of top 5. Their quarterback, you can argue, is top 10. Their defense is loaded everywhere. And they didn't just add pieces. They have vets who are super talented, and they keep adding young, talented guys to replace them. The way this organization has been built over the last 6 years has been one for sustained success. And I think we are in the heart of seeing that continue right now for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And I don't see a scenario in which the Eagles don't win this division unless catastrophic failure hits, which means you're seeing major pieces not playing for extended periods of time. So it's gonna be wild. Derpy, I can't do this shit, man. It's not dick riding when you're talking legit facts and paying respect where respect is due. I talk highly of your Steelers. If it's not there, I'm not going to talk about it, and I will tell you how I feel. But to just hate for hate's sake is a shit way to do life, my guy.
I like football and fantasy football, so I don't hate a lot of teams or a lot of players. Look, the Eagles are a well-run organization, and there's one thing that they do better than a lot of teams right now.
The tush push.
Well, the tush push helps. They do that well. They know who they are. They know their identity. Run the football, throw it occasionally, play good defense. That's a winning formula, no matter what era you play football in. And they do that really well. Now, in certain games, they've gotten away from that a little bit, and they've tried to let Jalen Hurts throw it around a little bit, and that's where things kind of go awry, and then they go back to, well, it's hard to stop Saquon. We're going to keep running the ball with Saquon. Normally when you do that, good things happen. And Derpy, you're not wrong. Eagles fans are terrible. They are terrible.
Weren't they
Philly
just voted
fans-
the worst fan base of all, like in the United
Philly
States?
fans, Sixers, Phillies, Eagles, their fans are awful. Now, I do love that they hate everybody. They will throw middle fingers to everybody, and they're consistent with that. And as a Philly fan, you know that that's who they're going to be. When you talk to somebody and you're like, "Oh, you're a Philly fan," like there's no surprises. They are who they are. But that doesn't mean like the Eagles themselves are shit. Like, let's be real. The Eagles are good. The Eagles
I
organization.
don't know the Philly fan base that well. I haven't really interacted with them ever, but
they're pretty bad.
I can tell you, there from my experience, there is one fan base that is right there on par with them, and they are about an hour north of me.
Oh, that's not true at all.
Not the Broncos.
Oh.
Not the Broncos, good sir. Easy there, buddy. Easy. Not the Broncos. It's a college team.
The Buffs aren't even that big of a college fan base, bro. It's not like that's not even on the same level.
They are the shittiest fans I've ever been around in my entire life. Bar none.
They
none.
They don't touch Eagles fans at all.
Think
Eagles
you'd be
fans are on a
surprised,
whole different
Pinky.
level.
Think you would be surprised, good sir.
I would not be surprised. I've been around a lot of fans. I've been around a lot of places. Eagles fans are bad. Raiders fans are usually pretty bad.
Raiders fans are better than Buffs fans.
I don't know, man. I don't know if
I can compare those two. I have experience with both of those fan bases.
I don't think your sample size of Buff fans is big enough to even make that.
Who are you talking to? That I don't have a big enough sample size of that?
I'm telling you that the amount of Buff fans are so small that like you're only dealing with a small portion of people. You're not dealing with this gigantic fan base. So you're dealing with this group of people here because it's so small that of course you're going to run into all the shitty ones because there's not that many fans.
But if that small of a fan base is that shitty, what makes you think if it grows, it gets better? They already start with that foundation, my guy.
They don't have a big fan base, so there's not enough for you to judge.
Pinky, that fan base right now is one of the biggest in college football. That fan base right now is one of the biggest in college football.
It is not.
And it is the biggest bandwagon fan base in college football.
That I'll agree with, yes. All right, we're talking college football. We're not supposed to be. Eagles are going to win. They're going to be a really good team. And that's all I can say about that.
F1.
Give us 5 minutes on the F1 races this weekend.
Wait, before you do that, did you get the stat of how long it's been?
21 years.
No.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
So he was right about something.
Jeez. All right. F1. Caleb, give me your quick 2-minute thought.
Give us chaos.
Bro, it's supposed to rain all weekend.
No, I'm not talking about the race yet, Robert. I am talking about the grid as a whole. Give me chaos. I'm done with this season, and I don't mean that literally. But what I mean by that is McLaren's walked away with everything already. There is no coming back from this. They have the Constructors' Cup. One of their drivers is going to win the championship. It is what it is. Unless you're a Piastri Orlando fan, you probably don't really care too much anymore. What I'm talking about, though, Max and Red Bull, Russell, Mercedes, Cadillac coming in next year. They got to fill 2 seats.
We already have one possibly filled.
Possibly. Hamilton, Ferrari.
Bro.
I mean, I can keep going on. Like, this list keeps getting wilder and wilder. What it looks like with the engine changes and the different specs that we're going to see coming out starting next year. Teams like Williams and stuff have said that they're already preparing for those to be in contention.
Oh, that's
3.
Alpine, their boss came out a couple days ago and said, or a couple weeks ago, and said they're planning on a Constructors' Cup championship in 2027. They're not even looking to next year. They're looking 2 years out. I know we're new to this sport. And this is really the first year that Robert and I would consider ourselves true fans and following
Absolutely.
to learn and know what's going on. And we talked about it a couple times already. I don't know if we could have come in at a better time because we get a baseline now of what's normal. All this chaos talk on the horizon. And then what happens from there? And that's where I'm looking right now, Robert. And I can't get enough of reading as much news as I can. And Toto on Max's private plane in the south of France, or like what, so many rumors, and the mill keeps turning, and the more the mill turns, the more seems to be true. Horner out at Red Bull, like what? Oh my Lord! So many things. So I'm good. Go ahead.
All right, so yes, so many great things. A lot of good chaos, especially going out with the Cadillac team coming in, especially on like a fast track that they seem that they're on. Man, so many good storylines happening for the next coming seasons. We're still in the middle of this season. We got the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend with the sprint. So we get 2 races technically.
What time is the race?
So you have the sprint, which I believe is like at 7:00 in the morning. Let me check. And then on Sunday for the actual race, it'll be at 7 a.m. on Sunday.
7 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
So are we doing Bloody Marys at your place? What are we doing?
I will not be at home. I'll be recovering from going to see Fantastic Four and hanging out in Denver the night before.
Well,
And
then you're.
Yeah, I know.
Well, then you're dead to me.
I'm sorry. Next weekend.
I offered to watch a race, and
I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared. The next one is on August 3rd. That's at 7 a.m. We could do that.
that's a long day.
I know.
F1 races and then SummerSlam.
Caleb's frozen.
Caleb is frozen. He's got that stinky face too.
Love it. So
That's a long day. I'm in if you're in, but that's a long day.
We'll talk. But yeah, so a lot of good things. I'm excited for the races this weekend. It's been a long 3-week break. Ready to get back at it and get some races going again. All right. Well, I don't want to start talking without him, but I guess I have to start talking without him. He's gone. Oh, wait. He made it back. Caleb, welcome back. We're about to start talking Superman.
Good. Let's do this.
All right. So, spoiler alert. This is a spoiler-filled review breakdown of the Superman 2025 from James Gunn. All right. So, Caleb.
So if you don't want spoilers, tune out now.
Yeah, leave.
Go away, because it is going down.
So you get a opening up, you get a scroll, kind of like you do with Star Wars, just breaking down the timeline and everything. And it gets down to basically 3 minutes ago, Superman lost his first fight. And he crash lands in Antarctica and is calling Krypto to take him to the Fortress of Solitude.
Let's just say he got his ass beat.
Oh, he really got his ass beat, and that we'll get there.
Which makes no sense, but
it does. Well, that comes later, because it's the sword of Bravia or whatever it was. I have to double check the name again. But Superman gets totally decimated. Gets taken back to the fortress, and you start seeing all of the pieces coming together, and you find out that Bradley Cooper is Jor-El, playing Superman's daddy. So that was a pretty cool reveal. And then as you're going through the rest,
how did they keep that secret for so long?
Oh, I know, it was incredible. So
what's crazy is I didn't even notice it was Bradley Cooper. He had like a beard.
It's one of those that good styles. I love when that happens.
He had like a beard and goatee, and I didn't even notice it was Bradley Cooper. That's news to me, Robert. Thanks, buddy.
That's Bradley. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so that's Bradley Cooper. Bruce breaking down everything. And then it's basically playing a repeat message which becomes one of the main focal points of the movie going forward. And
So the message brings him calm and peace because he's hearing his parents, and that's all he's known of his parents, his birth parents. Is this message, and it's not a complete message, so he's only hearing a part of it. So that's what makes the message a focal point throughout the movie. Because again, for him, hearing the message was like a calming peace, and he's supposed to help mankind.
And this is based off. Gunn is basing this all off of a comic book storyline, right?
Well,
or did he
different comic storylines? He's pulled from different things.
So he's basically making his own Superman story then.
Correct. We're getting there.
Okay, sorry. I just, you know me, I can't help myself.
So you're fine. So we get all this set up of the Fortress of Solitude, the robots and things, and him being taken care of, and that he needs to heal with the power of the yellow sun. Once he's healed, he's ready to go. He's trying to get back out and start fighting, and they're like, "You're not even fully recovered." Crypto's trying to get him to play with him. It's a very good moment. But he takes off, and you see the engineer has been tracking him and is also trying to get into the Fortress of Solitude for reasons we don't know yet. And as they're going through and going back to fight, you meet some different people that Superman's interacted with. One of them being a street vendor that basically goes in and helps him out and is basically trying to make sure Superman's okay. And once he basically gets his ass beat for the second time, this Hammer of Baravia is saying, I'm going to come back if you don't, Superman stays out of our business. Because you find out that Superman basically stopped a war between Baravia and this other country.
So, not running down every single moment of the movie, Robert. Sure. This movie is very political. It has a very political part to it. And that's a part of when Superman gets involved in politics and other countries, is that something he should do? That's a big.
Is that normal for Superman in the comics? That kind of dichotomy between the right and wrong and the political aspects of the world, is that normal for the comics?
It's a more recent thing.
Okay.
Because everyone just generally accepts Superman.
Because I know Snyder did something similar, right? Where he had Superman in court in front of Congress or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
For basically atoning for what happened in Metropolis and the events of Man of Steel. But so yeah, very, very political, and gets to the point where becomes one of the few moments that Lois and Clark share together is she's interviewing him, and he's basically coming undone because he doesn't understand why it's such a problem for him to have stopped a war and prevented people from dying.
I love that. I love that interaction between them two, because she's attacking him as a reporter, and his whole thing is like, it doesn't matter. I saved lives. I saved people from dying.
Is this part of the political aspect because he's American intervening in somebody else's? Is that where that political aspect comes in? So it's not Superman per se, it's Superman's American?
No. It's just Superman.
Okay.
Superman is getting involved in another country trying to invade another country. And he stopped that invasion. And that's what's causing the, as it would, should Superman be doing this? Should Superman be, stopping another country? Should he be involving? Now, part of it is people are thinking he's a representative of America. So he's stepping in as an American, but he's an alien.
And so continuing off of that, Superman gets called back to fight off this kaiju type monster as Lex Luthor is breaking into the Fortress of Solitude. Well, the engineer ends up being able to rebuild the message sent from his parents, and it basically is where the big twist is, and it puts Superman's entire existence into question because they want him to rule over Earth and foster as many kids with as many different women as he possibly can. Which is the big twist from the original origin stories of Superman. So it causes this moral dilemma of him basically being, all I want to do is do good. That's all I've ever known. And for them to say this, it changes my mentality. And the next interaction you get is where he talks about punk rock, and it's just that he sees everyone Lois says he sees everyone as a beautiful human being, and that he's like, that's the real punk rock, instead of just judging everybody. Everyone's beautiful. Which is another great touching moment, because during this whole time of the engineer getting this message, he steals Crypto from trying to defend the Fortress of Solitude. So as he's having to deal with this moment of his parents basically saying, you're going to rule over Earth, he has to go get this dog because he doesn't know where the dog is, which then leads Superman to turning himself in and now being at the hands of Lex Luthor. Which, I don't know, Pinky, what you thought of that whole segment, but that was one of my favorite moments of the entire movie, was that moment with Lex Luthor taking him into custody and taking him through the interdimensional prison.
Well, he allowed Lex Luthor to do that.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But
when he took him there,
I really enjoyed that twist of having his parents say, you're going to rule over Earth. You need, because now it turns the public against Superman. And Superman's like, wait, no, I'm just trying to help everyone. Like, I'm not trying to take you over. I've only thought about helping. The first part of the message is just about you guys helping, not about, taking over the Earth. So it was a really great thing because it puts everybody against Superman. So what does Superman have to do when everybody's against him?
he's got to prove his worth. He's got to go through.
He's got to overcome that and prove that he's still here to help. So again, the second half of that movie is him fighting against and getting the public opinion back on his side. Getting the public back on. He's here to help. He's not here to rule over.
Superman is John Cena?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime we can talk about the champ, I'm in, baby. I'm in. Let's go.
And then while you have the Superman story playing out on the backside, you have Lois doing her reporter thing, trying to figure out why Lex is so invested in this whole relationship between these warring countries and Superman. And as you're doing that, you're discovering the Justice Gang with Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, which Mr. Terrific is probably, outside of Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, Mr. Terrific is one of the best parts of the movie.
Everything I'm reading says he stole the movie. Like, he needs a solo immediately.
Crushed it. Like, his segments, his dialogue, his interactions with everyone.
I've never even heard of the character.
Hold on.
That's a character that, again, me being a little bit newer, especially with DC, that's a character I have never even heard of. So it's kind of blowing me away a little bit that it's being that popular, well received and popular.
Well, it's funny. He's smooth and cool, but according to Andy, they screwed his character.
Yeah.
He is not that character in the comics.
Oh, really?
Yes. Again, if you go see a comic book movie with Andy, be prepared for him to point out all the inaccurate information in the movie.
So how off from the character did Andy say it was, and why would they make such a drastic change if it's that far off?
So we didn't have that long of a conversation with Andy because he had to go. He had some things to do. But he did mention, like, they didn't quite capture Mr. Terrific's character to the comics. And then, Robert, the biggest part of the movie, which I completely agree with Andy. Completely agree. What was his other biggest complaint about this movie? Do you remember?
Can't say that I do.
So Superman is a badass. And Superman would destroy
Oh yeah, they
almost anybody.
made him
Now,
beatable.
Bizarro, who is in this movie, is his counterpart. He's actually stronger than him. But he's not, he's dumb. Because he was created with Superman's DNA. Right? Mm-hmm. So he's dumb, but he's just as strong or stronger than Superman. Superman is the way that they handle a couple things in this movie is actually not quite comic accurate. Superman would not get his ass beat in most cases. He does have to fight pretty hard in this movie. They do put him at risk. Now again,
is there a comic storyline, I guess is a way to say it, that can back that up, or is this James Gunn taking a big kind of...
He is dialing his power back a little bit. He has said this in interviews, is that James Gunn made Superman in this universe to be beatable. He's not all powerful. He's not an invincible being.
Caleb, so is there like the Silver Age or the Golden Age? Like, I don't know the ages, but was there a time where this is kind of Superman? Or
no? Superman's always been over the top, like strong and strong. Bizarro and Doomsday are like his two biggest, foes overall. Now, if you're doing a movie and the character is unbeatable, there's not a lot to do, right?
Which was one of the problems with the Man of Steel.
So that's kind of one of those things that I understand it from a movie perspective. From a comic book perspective, it's not completely accurate because Superman would destroy most of the stuff that happened. He gets the shit kicked out of him a lot in this movie, which comic accurate doesn't make sense.
So what's the reasoning behind it then?
You got to put level the playing field for this entire universe that he's building.
You got to put your hero at risk.
But aren't there ways to put Superman at risk through like actual comic accurate storylines that would be better than just devaluing his power completely?
They did. I mean, that Metamorpho does manipulate because he's the elemental being. He can turn into any element. Turns into kryptonite, and it weakens Superman for a good half of the movie as he's in this prison. And then as he breaks out, he's starting to learn his other powers and be able to overcome these things and be Superman.
Because one of the issues I had with Marvel, if I'm being perfectly honest, and why I wasn't as high on Endgame and the like, was because of how dirty they did the Hulk.
Agreed.
So could you see this being a similar feeling for some DC fans?
To some degree, sure. Like if you're a comic diehard like Andy, yes. But for the entertainment and getting a good Superman movie, this is great.
If you don't put the main character at risk, it gets boring. I'll be honest. The what I compare it to, I love The Equalizer. I think that's a fun movie. I think it's a fun character. In Equalizer 3, he kicks the shit out of everybody, and he's not at risk the whole movie. So I was just like, why are we even doing this? Why are we watching this? He killed everybody. It wasn't even an issue. It was over.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but in Equalizer 3, he was also fighting arguably his weakest competition in the whole series.
But again, there's nothing
was like thug level gang compared to true Russian mafia.
But there's nothing interesting about that.
I would disagree because I thought the story of what was being told and how the character was growing and developing was the bigger part of the story than the fight scenes and stuff of what it was.
If you don't put the character at risk of losing,
he was at risk of losing.
He wasn't. Nobody touched him.
Yeah, but that wasn't the risk of.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Lose. That's where I'm trying to go here. That's what I'm trying to say.
If your hero is not at risk, the audience is not concerned about them losing at all.
Right.
So then, what are they invested in?
All of that, Pinky. Hear me out. there are 1,000 different ways to put your character at risk. It doesn't just have to be he has to get his ass beat. There are other ways to put characters at risk and question their abilities, their integrity, their fortitude. So what I'm trying to ask, I guess, is why would you take arguably the essence of the character and remove it? That seems like lazy writing. Like that's, and I haven't seen it. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to get a feel here and kind of prod you guys because you have. It seems like it's almost lazy writing by Gunn to do this rather than be more creative on how to build this character in a more thoughtful manner.
Again, this is still early Superman for the most part.
Yeah, he's
so maybe he hasn't found his ultimate level of strength.
But again, is there a comic book accuracy you can fall back on that says there was a point in time where Superman kind of had to learn to be better and stronger? Or was he always just Superman such that Gunn has nothing to base this on? He's just completely taken the character in his own direction.
I mean, there are some comics, but not like an actual storyline like you'd have like a Year 2 Batman. Not in that case.
Okay. So he's taking some big liberties here that could really bury it in the end?
No, I wouldn't say so, because he's also building up the other stories that are going to be told. So one of the few things that you get to see is Millie Alcock's Supergirl, and that she goes and parties on Red Sun galaxies because of the makeup, they can get drunk there. But they can't get drunk here with the Yellow Sun on Earth because their DNA won't allow it. So you see her as this basically trashed teenager and is just there. So it's just getting to like understand the different parallels of each character, and that they're still, while the universe has been in existence, they're still going to have other fights that are coming that are going to make them stronger.
So like, and I don't have, again, something to base this on per se, but I felt like Snyder did a great job in showing Superman being all powerful, but then having this behind the scenes thing that could legitimately hurt him. And then Snyder had to step away. Josh Whedon completely ruined the movie and the vision, and you get Steppenwolf instead of Darkseid. And when the Snyder Cut finally comes out, you go, oh, shit, this now makes a lot more sense for why all of this was like that. Because Darkseid was in the background, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Darkseid and Superman are on a similar level, aren't they? Like, that's a villain that can actually go toe-to-toe with Superman to an extent?
Darkseid is very formidable.
So why would you, if there are characters that can actually compete with Superman, I guess I'm very confused on why Gunn would take such a risk in the character and his overall arc in the very beginning of the story.
Because we've gotten the all-powerful storyline. We're over it. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. This is the humanized version of Superman. It is making him a very much a relatable person, somebody that other people want to be and aspire to be, but he's not a god.
So then his true enemies are all going to have to be devalued at the same time going forward then, right? Everything introduced from here on out is going to have to be weaker than what people expect.
Or he'll have to overcome.
It'll be his overcoming.
How do you overcome, though, if you're already, I mean, you like, it sounds like you guys are telling me that Gunn is basically making Superman like Iron Man. He's just part of the Avengers. He's not the Avenger. I don't know a better analogy. I'm sorry, but that's as best as I can come up with it from my mind and my knowledge. He's just another member of the Justice League. He's not the guy in the Justice League. Like, that's what I'm hearing. So correct me if I'm wrong.
He turned his powers down to 7 instead of being at 10 like they should be.
So does that put him on equal playing field with Green Lantern or Supergirl or?
Well, the thing is we don't know yet. In this universe, we don't know. Like, we've got some exposure with Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, and you have some sense of like maturity in it, sure. And you have this moment where like Mr. Terrific is standing over Superman, like, "Come on, man, we got stuff to do." And he's like, "Dude, I'm doing it. Just had my arm ripped out of my socket," and he's just literally just finished a fight. So there's still like some growing levels because he's only been Superman for 3 years and is still understanding.
Whoa. So the movie clearly states that he's only been Superman for 3 years. So
That's
he's like
literally
fresh.
in the opening scroll.
He's like fresh out of what, college, basically,
He's 27.
because that's when he becomes Superman finally.
When he reviewed it, when he revealed that he's Superman. 27. He was 27 when he revealed to the world he was Superman, and he's been Superman for 3 years by the time
Is
we get
that
to the movie.
Comic book accurate?
I mean,
Or
it's just picking a point in time.
Well, I'm saying, when does Superman go from the farm boy to Superman in the comics? When does that transition occur?
Check.
This is all new for me, guys. So thank you for enlightening me, and hopefully other people are enjoying this as well, because this is wild. I'm just trying to get a sense of how much Gunn is taking liberties with the character, or how much he's actually truly drawing from the comics. Because I've seen a lot of interviews where he's like, the reason Superman puts on the glasses and nobody recognizes him is because comic book accurate says the glasses are actually the reason, right?
Yes.
So
in comic book lore, it's like mid-20s. In movies, it's early 30s.
Okay, so it's within the timeline. We can accept that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So he's not doing the origin story. He's starting with, I've been Superman for a couple years, but it's still new to me, and this is where I'm going to grow from here.
Correct, because that's one of the other things that he said in his interview is nobody wants to see a baby coming from an alien planet landing in Kansas. Nobody wants to see Pearls in the back alleyway with Batman, and everybody's seen Uncle Ben die. We get it.
Okay.
Those are the 3 canon events that have to happen for these 3 specific superheroes. We get it. We've seen it. We're done with it. Let's move on.
Those are all facts.
And I mean,
Facts.
Total off tangent. That is one thing I will say that Spider-Man No Way Home did do good on is with the death of Aunt May instead. Showing that as his point was very well done. But anyway, going back to Superman. So to wrap everything up there, it really does a fantastic job of world building for what is to come with now Peacemaker and all these other projects, Supergirl with Lobo, and whatnot. Does a great job humanizing. It's a great story. I mean, if you go around and read some other interviews, I mean, there's been people that said they've even teared up watching it, which I mean, I did myself. It was just, I thought it was a phenomenal story, a great Superman movie. I would honestly put it above Man of Steel in number 2, and then Christopher Reeves' original. So just can't beat the original. But yeah, this would probably go in my second Superman slot for sure.
Solid.
So Caleb, can't wait for you to see it. You have until August 21st because that's when Peacemaker season 2 comes out, and we're rolling. So get it done, my man.
I will do my best, good sirs.
Get it done. It's worth seeing in the theater. Absolutely. Get it done for sure.
So final thoughts to go around. Fantastic Four is this weekend. The introduction of Galactus. I'm going on Saturday evening. Cannot wait. Hoping this is going to be a good movie, but I mean, F1 is still the best movie of the summer.
You still have F1 over Superman?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I am hearing some early conflicting stories that Fantastic Four is good, not great, and the fact that it's going up against Superman basically is going to kill it, unfortunately.
Yes,
so it'll be interesting to see, because this is Marvel jumping off on their new next big thing.
Family. Yep, absolutely. We'll see what happens. But yeah, no, F1 is still like, if people tell me they haven't seen either one, I'd be like, go see F1.
Okay.
Wait for Superman.
Okay.
But in your case, Caleb, go see Superman.
All right.
Both are really good movies. I think you would be entertained in either one you go see. F1 is
The wife's not going to see F1, so we'll be Superman.
as a sports movie. F1 is great. It is great. I will say it's probably the best sports movie that's come out in like at least the last 5 years.
Which there's a lot of female F1 fans. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Final thoughts, Pinky.
NFL training camps are back. I will tell you guys, please, if you love fantasy football, you better start paying attention. This is when you're going to start hearing more information about the rookies, how they're assimilating into an NFL offense. You want to get that advantage on your league. Pay attention.
I like it. Final thought. Voting ends at midnight. We are 3 hours out. Best action movie hero bracket finals are live. Mr. James Bond versus Mr. John Wick. Get your votes in while you still can, because the winner is going to get announced tomorrow. On that note, we cannot thank everyone enough for the love, the support, the likes, shares, the subscribes, and everything else that goes along with allowing us to continue to do this, because at least one person cares to listen. Derpy, we love you, man. We appreciate it more than you will ever know, and we will continue to say it no matter how cliche it sounds. Do not take those moments with your family, loved ones, friends, inner circle for granted. Cherish them. Take advantage of it as often as you can. Till next week, we will talk to you gentlemen and ladies later.
See ya.